This is Candid Conversations with Dr. Mayfield, a podcast that resources parents, families, and friends with tools to have important conversations about mental and emotional health. This podcast is brought to you by Mayfield Counseling Centers, helping you find clarity, hope, and purpose. This is the end of Candid Conversations with Dr. Mayfield.
That's a sad statement.
Yeah. But don't be dismayed. There's a lot of good that's going to come out of this. And that beginning is a little facetious. This is not the end. It's the end of that title. Dr. Mayfield and I are going to take the month of June off. And we're going to do a little bit of rebranding, restructuring, change some things up in July.
3 seasons of Candid Conversations has been good, but we want to make sure that we're staying current and appropriate, and some things have changed.
Yep, just a little bit. As a lot of you have heard and known, if you're paying attention. If you're not, that's fine. I don't blame you. I have been cranking out my master's degree, doing internship. You may have heard hints that I am expecting my first child soon. And all of that all hits in June. And so with me coming on at Mayfield Counseling Centers as a therapist, able to see clients, starting to do groups, things like that I've been wanting to do for a while, we felt it would be appropriate to change up the structure of this show just a little bit.
Yep.
Sorry, our curtain just moved in a way that distracted me. Mark, talk a little bit about what kind of the motivation behind this change, because there's a few things that we want to do that are very specific.
Well, I want to make sure that what we're doing is appropriate. You know, we're close to 30,000 listens and downloads over the 3 seasons, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. You know, and I appreciate everybody that's been listening and sharing. But we want to be relevant. We want to maintain relevancy. And so we want to engage our listeners in a way of tell us what you want to hear, what's been appropriate. You know, I think we started out this show a little bit more cutting edge and a little bit more in your face with some of the topics we talked about, race, racism, white privilege, and, you know, how to talk to kids about sex and all this kind of stuff. And that's been good. I think we've kind of softened a little bit. Yeah. But I do think we need to continue to talk about this kind of stuff. But also, too, you know, when we started, you weren't even finished with your bachelor's degree, and you were, you know, working towards, you know, becoming a counselor. And I feel like just honoring what you've accomplished, like, this needs to be collaborative, and it has been. Yeah, but, absolutely. But I still think it needs to be more collaborative, and, you know, and does it always have to be you and me? Right. You know, could it be me and a guest, or you and a guest, or, you know, and kind of get some more flexibility and just kind of rethink and rebrand. And it's always good to switch things up, you know, in 2.5 years. Yeah, I think is plenty of time. Definitely. So I think that's been really good. But I think, how do we continue to push the bounds when it comes to destigmatizing mental health and making it everyday resource. Yeah. Well, and if your heart sank just a little bit when you heard that this is the end of Candid Conversations, the one of you. No, I'm just kidding. It is vitally important that Mark and I get to hear from you, because we really do. Please hear my heart. We want to hear from you. What are the things that you don't want us to lose about the structure for what we do in July? What are the things that you are fine with us changing and moving around? If we don't hear from you, I guarantee that we're not going to be able to build something that's as impactful as you might hope. And we want to make sure that we don't lose you. You are vitally important to what we're doing. We're not doing this just because Mark and I enjoy this, as much as that's true. It is, yeah. We're doing this because we really do believe that this show can be a resource. And can be a voice of hope and insight for people. Absolutely. And we want to continue that. So we would love to hear from you. You can email us, candid@mayfieldcounseling.com. You can call us on Facebook. Yeah, we really want to hear from you. It's important that we hear from you as we go forward. Yeah. Not much more to say. I mean, not much. We're taking a break in June. I think it's just healthy to take breaks. It's healthy to find rhythms and not push. Yeah, I think we've learned that in COVID. Just how busy we were.
Yeah.
And how nice it is not to be as busy.
Right.
And so wanting to be intentional about those kinds of things. But I guess my question, and I think part of the things that you and I are going to be researching, but for our listeners is, as you're searching for podcasts, what are the gaps out there?
Yeah.
Like, what are you looking for that's not there? And I think that's what we want to fill. Is not, I don't want to recreate something new. Or try to poach from another idea. Like, what are you looking for that's not out there?
Yeah. And that's really, that Candid Conversations was built because you and I were going on a lot of speaking engagements. Sure. And consistently people were coming up to us at the end and saying, what other resources do you have? And we would offer book suggestions. We would say, go to a counselor. And then that felt like all that we had to offer were those resources. And we really wanted to be able to create something that followed up on some of the speaking engagements that you were doing and provided continuing resources for individuals.
Yep.
And I think in a lot of ways, Candid has accomplished that task.
It has. Yeah. And so, thoughts that I've had, is it, do we go, what is anxiety? What isn't anxiety? And we do, that's more educational.
Right.
But maybe people know, I don't know. We're still kind of figuring this out. And it's kind of going to be a fun new journey.
Yeah. And it'll be us. I think that, what I've realized is that a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, that my wife listens to, aren't necessarily for the content all the time, but the personality and the insight that they bring. And hopefully some people feel that way about us. And if not, then the content's been great and you can go back and re-listen to all of it.
Right.
And just know, as we go forward, that you won't have to search for us. We're going to plan on continuing on the same RSS feed, and you'll be able to find us on iTunes and wherever you're listening to us the same way. It just will have a different title.
Or maybe a subtitle.
Or
I don't know.
We don't know. We've thought about this a lot, despite how it might sound. We are really trying to be very intentional about what this looks like, and trying to be intentional on what does expansion of this look like as well. Can we make this into something that has a larger reach than Candid Conversations did and can help more people?
Yeah, I agree. Well, let us know. Candid at mayfieldcounseling.com, 719-452-4803. What's your extension?
713.
713. Mine's 700.
Yeah.
You can call us and let us know.
Yep. And shameless plug, if you know somebody who's looking for a good therapist, I'm on the market. I want to end real quick. I'll say my bit and then I'll let Mark say his bit. I really am very grateful for everyone who has listened to Candid Conversations. It has been wonderful to hear from you and hear the stories that you've been telling about how this has impacted you in your story and your journey. And I am humbled and honored to have played a part in your story, and hopefully to have given you a tool or two to help you manage and thrive in difficult and wonderful times.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I think when we started out 2.5 years ago, 2 years, 3 months ago, whatever, I don't think we ever thought that we'd have 30,000 listens and downloads and that kind of stuff. And so it's been a lot of fun. I think thank you for maybe placating us a little bit in the early stages of season 1 and how bad it sucked. But thanks for sharing. Thanks for making it as popular as it has been. And like you said, it's been fun to be a part of the journey.
Yeah.
So
we'll see you in the next season.
Thank you for joining us on Candid Conversations. We are so glad that you are here today, and we hope that if something came up for you that piqued your interest or that you have more questions about, you feel the freedom to call Mayfield Counseling Centers. We're not just here for people in Colorado Springs. We want to help everybody we can. So if you have any questions, email us at candid@mayfieldcounseling.com, or you can check out our website, YouTube channel, or Facebook page, where we post resources on a pretty consistent basis. We'd love to help you in whatever we can. Feel free to reach out.